Welcome to Eddie's life. Eddie is an 83-year-old veteran who served in World War II. Eddie had white hair and a short neck with thick forearms. His legs were thin and veiny, and his left knee was injured in the war, causing him to have arthritis. He carries a ring of keys on his belt loop and uses a cane to help him walk everywhere. Eddie works at Ruby Pier as a maintenance man. He checks the rides daily to make sure they are running properly and that they are not broke. On a summer day of 2003, Eddie was doing his normal routine around the amusement park. He was checking on rides, telling children and teenagers not to horse around or lean on things. All of a sudden, one of the rides started malfunctioning. At the very top of the ride, one of the carts started to collapse. The wires holding the cart together started to break. Eddie got to the scene immediately and noticed as the cart was slowly falling apart, there was a little girl in the cart. By the time anyone could hear Eddie screaming to hold on, the cart was already falling. Eddie caught the little girl, but also caught the cart. Eddie died instantly. When Eddie got to heaven, he met 5 people. Each person teaches Eddie a lesson. The Blue Man, the Captain, Ruby, Margaret, and Tala. The Blue Man tells Eddie his life story and how he died. One day when Eddie was younger, he was playing outside with his friends, and their ball rolled out in the street as the car was driving by. The car slammed on the brakes and lost control. The car ended up crashing and the person died. That person was the Blue Man. The Blue Man's lesson to Eddie was everything happens for a reason. There was a reason that the Blue Man died and Eddie stayed alive. The theme for the whole story is there's always a purpose for your life. The Blue Man's theme and this theme are related because there's a reason Eddie stayed alive and the Blue Man's car crashed and he died. Eddie had the rest of his life to live while the Blue Man was an adult. The second person Eddie met in heaven was the Captain. When Eddie was in his younger years, he was in the military. Eddie traveled with his captain and teammates. While in the war, there was a building on fire and Eddie saw someone running into the building. Eddie became determined to get them out of the fire, but the group had to get away from the fire as soon as possible. Eddie was trying to tell the captain, but the captain didn't believe, and Eddie demanded him to follow. Eddie ignored the captain's demand and wanted to go save the person that ran into the fire. The captain didn't believe Eddie that someone had ran into the fire. The captain ended up shooting Eddie in the leg so he wouldn't be able to go and run into the fire. When Eddie had met the captain in heaven, the captain told Eddie that he was the one that shot him in the leg. Eddie was very angry, but the captain explained his reason for shooting him in the leg. The captain's motto is that no man is left behind, and his theme is sacrifices are a part of life. There are big sacrifices and small sacrifices, but they all make an impact on people's lives. The theme of the whole story and the captain's theme are related because the captain shot Eddie in the leg so that he would live, and both Eddie and the person wouldn't die. Eddie made a sacrifice by leaving the person in the fire after he got shot. The third person Eddie met was Ruby. When Eddie first got to the third person, he saw his father and thought he was the third person. Ruby explained the story to Eddie. Ruby and her husband are the creators of Ruby Pier. Ruby's husband named the main entrance of Ruby Pier after Ruby. One night, Ruby Pier was caught on fire. Ruby's husband started trying to put the fire out with buckets of water, but that didn't work. The Ruby entrance burnt down, and Ruby and her husband were devastated. They sold Ruby Pier, but the new owners kept the name of Ruby. They sold Ruby Pier, but the owner name of Ruby Pier. Eddie asked Ruby about why his dad was at the cafe and why his dad treated him so rudely when his dad was alive. Ruby told Eddie the stories about his dad and why he acted the way he did. Eddie felt terrible for yelling at his dad and treating him so badly when he was younger. Ruby's theme is the importance of releasing anger and granting forgiveness, and that there is always more than one side to a story. Eddie said acted this way towards Eddie to teach him how not to act, or to teach him there is more than 2 sides of a story. The fourth person Eddie meets in heaven was Margaret. As we all know, Margaret was the love of Eddie's life. When Eddie got to the fourth person, he was in a room with doors, a bunch of doors. He opened a door and it took him to a wedding. If we went back into the room and opened another door, it took him to another wedding. Eddie eventually walked into a wedding and found Margaret dancing, the younger Margaret. Eddie was confused at first because he thought he was just seeing her, but as time went on and he saw her even more, he was certain that was her. When they got alone, they started talking. Eddie told Margaret about his whole journey through heaven. Eddie asked Margaret why she chose to to see Eddie in her why she chose for Eddie to see her in her younger years. Margaret replied saying that she looked better in her younger years. Eddie and Margaret both said they enjoyed being with each other and they wish they could stay with each other for longer. Margaret teaches Eddie the power of love, even after death, that the love never goes away, you just love in different forms and some are stronger than the others. This says that although you can feel different types of love in heaven, there is a purpose for your life because living on earth you get to experience love in many other forms. Lastly, the fifth person is the little girl. When Eddie meets Tala, she has burn blisters. Tala asks Eddie to bathe her, but Eddie replies saying that he doesn't know how to bathe children because he's never had kids. Tala tells Eddie that she will teach him how to tell him what to do. Eddie asks Tala why she has all of the burn blisters. Tala repeats with, "You burn me, you burn me." Eddie asks why she keeps saying that, and Tala explains to Eddie that she is the one that ran into the fire when he was born, and that she burned to death. This makes Eddie feel terrible, and he starts crying. Eddie asks Tala if he saved the girl that fell out of the cart from the ride at Ruby Pier. Tala said that he saved her, but instead of catching her, he pushed her. Eddie tells Tala that his life was a waste, and that he should have done something with his life. Tala explains to Eddie that there's always a purpose for your life. We will be doing the interview.
So, do you believe in heaven?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Mainly because there just has to be something more than just death, I guess.
Okay. Do you think you will meet loved ones once you die?
Yes.
Who do you think you will meet?
My parents, my brothers, my significant other, I guess.
Okay. Is death permanent or do we have more than one life?
That's a hard question. I feel like it's between both. I feel like you have to wait a certain extent so you can come back. So, yeah.
Do you think you have a purpose in life?
Yes. I don't know what that is, but I think I do. I'm pretty sure I do.
Okay. Do you think everything happens for a reason?
Yes.
Why?
Because you gotta develop as a person, if something happens, you gotta learn from that experience. I feel like everything happens for a reason, for you to learn a lesson, I guess.
Do you think it's important to make sacrifices?
Yes. Yes, I think you should be able to make sacrifices.
Why?
Because some things can lead you to the wrong paths. Like, let's say you got a friend who dragged you into something you don't want. You're gonna have to cut them out of your life for the better.
Okay. How important is to forgive someone?
It is very important to forgive someone. Mainly because trust is a hard thing to earn from another person. Because you gotta be able to trust them, and if you lose that, it's something you can't get back. You may not get back.
Is there a meaning to life?
Yes.
Why?
Because I don't know. It's just something that I feel like has to happen. But I feel like you gotta have a purpose, because other than that, life would just be like an accident.
How long do you think you'll be remembered after you die?
Well, two generations probably.
2 generations? Why? Why not longer?
Because my sons are gonna remember me, or daughter, whoever it may be, and then their sons might remember me as a grandfather, and so on. But this is gonna be able to remember once. Yeah, I feel like over time I'm just gonna pass over it.